First tonight, all eyes are on the tropics as residents in the south are on high alert. Our Joshua Williams is in San Salvador tonight as forecasters continue to monitor multiple weather systems. Plus, Long Island's power grid is set to get a substantial upgrade as BPL invests over $1 million in a generator and transformer. And then the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute is celebrating an international accreditation. The institution's president says they've now entered the global stage. And then in our news at 7:30, the TUC president says unions were not consulted ahead of the proposed salary increase for public servants, essentially defeating the purpose of trade unions. We've got the details for these stories and more as our news live at 7 starts now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. Portions of the northwest Bahamas now under a tropical storm watch and the central Bahamas now under tropical storm warnings as we have newly formed potential Cyclone 9. Meteorologist Greg Thompson gets us started this evening. Greg, what are we paying attention to tonight?
Yes, Megan, we are now tracking potential tropical Cyclone 9, which formed at 5 p.m. this afternoon across the southeast Bahamas, just to the east of west of Inagua, across the eastern tip of Cuba. We also have Umberto still out there in the open Atlantic, just to the east of the Bahamas, and that's a very powerful Category 3 storm. We expect that system to continue to strengthen. But all eyes are on the system, potential tropical Cyclone 9, which at 5 p.m. places it at 20.9 degrees north, 74.6 west, winds up to 35 to 40 miles per hour, and its movement is towards the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Very slow moving storm. Still looking a little disorganized, but the system is getting its act together. A low-pressure system has formed just to the northeast of the eastern tip of Cuba, and the system is expected to continue moving towards the north. Should be in the central Bahamas overnight through tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms will be spreading across that area. The Department of Meteorology has now put out alert number 1 on the potential tropical Cyclone 9. So central Bahamas is under a warning. The northwest Bahamas, portions of it under a watch. And because the system is now across the southeast Bahamas, they haven't put out a warning for that area, but a lot of showers and thunderstorms will be affecting that area. Lots of flooding expected with the system as it is going to be bringing a lot of moisture with it. So showers and thunderstorms will be the name of the game for the weekend across most of the Bahamas, chain of islands. And we're asking you, residents in the central and the northwest Bahamas, to continue to monitor the progress of this system and rush to preparation for this impending system. Taking a look at the future radar showing the moisture associated with it across the southeast Bahamas, you notice just a bit of a spin across the southeastern islands just to the northwest of Inagua. That system will continue to move towards the northwest through the entire chain of islands, eventually skirting Eleuthera and Abaco by Saturday into Sunday and bringing tropical storm conditions through most of the islands. So we're asking you to continue to prepare for the system. The effects: flooding expected. We also expect some possible tornadic activity and some heavy showers and thunderstorms. Anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall expected. So flooding is a distinct possibility with the system. Also some rough seas. We're asking you boaters and you beachgoers not to get into the waters for the entire weekend as the system moves through the entire chain of island. We'll talk more about potential tropical Cyclone 9, and then we'll take a further look at the tropics where we still have Humberto, and of course Gabrielle is no longer being tracked.
All right, thank you so much for that, Greg. Well, that tropical disturbance has prompted Bahamasair to cancel 3 flights to the southern Bahamas. Airline officials say they're keeping a close eye on the tropical disturbance that's expected to strengthen in Bahamian waters. As a precaution, flights to Crooked Island, Acklins, Long Island, and San Salvador have been canceled. Managing Director Tracy Cooper says passengers on those flights should have already been notified.
As with weather disturbances, these are beyond the has nothing to do with the passenger as far as their activities, and so Bahamasair will waive all penalties related to having to rebook because of this weather disturbance.
Now, as we continue to track that tropical disturbance, our Joshua Williams is on the island of San Salvador, where wild weather is expected to roll in as early as this evening. He spoke to the island administrator earlier today about how residents have been prepared for whatever weather comes their way.
Tropical disturbance AL94 is making its way through the southeast Bahamas. Residents are now closely monitoring the weather. We've been tracking the system for several days, mostly unsure of what it will develop into, but forecasters predict the southerly islands could experience tropical depression conditions as early as tonight or in the morning. Here in San Salvador, Island Administrator Francis Barr tells me they're on high alert.
We have informed the residents and we have informed them to make sure all debris, as far as possible, that anything that can be an object, to please remove them or secure them in their yards. We have those flood-prone areas. We have advised those persons, if possible, to seek higher ground. Probably a possibility to a family member.
It's hard not to think back to Hurricane Joaquin back in 2015. That started as a small disturbance, then ballooned into a powerful storm overnight, impacting this very community. Barr tells me while she hopes this isn't a repeat of 2015, there are several shelters ready to be mobilized if necessary.
Yes, the clinic is on standby for any emergency. However, thankfully, the weather system didn't affect us today, so school will be closed on the weekend. So I don't think it will affect the schools. I'm hoping that by Monday it is out of our area.
The mood on the ground here could be described as optimistically cautious. Residents going about their business as usual. A Bahamas power and light worker spent the day placing shutters on the windows of the main office. Some residents were also buying last-minute groceries. Others filling up their gas tanks and containers at the service station.
The only thing I think we can get is the breeze and some rain, because the span what they have us in, that's why we may get some.
We're looking at a little bit of rain and these kind of things. So, but be ready. We can be ready.
Now, as you can see, conditions are a bit calm right now. There's a slight breeze, but nothing more. And as we go into this evening and tomorrow morning, we expect the wind and the seas to pick up just a bit. But we invite you to stay tuned to our social media pages for updates. Reporting for our news from San Salvador, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks so much, Joshua, and be sure to stay safe. Long Island's power grid is set to get a major upgrade. Bahamas Power and Light announcing plans to roll out a $1.2 million investment in a generator and a transformer to significantly strengthen energy supply in South Long Island. The announcement was made by BPL Chief Executive Officer Tony Seymour during a town hall meeting held at the Clarence Town Community Center on Wednesday. During the meeting, she also addressed the long-standing challenges of providing a consistent power supply to the island.
So what that will do is bring relief, immediate relief to the residents of South Long Island, and also bring relief to the engines at the Millis Power Plant. So we have had some challenges at the plant recently, as you would have seen.
Well, Fox Hill was the scene of the country's latest murder on Thursday evening. Police say it happened around 7 p.m. Few details were released about the crime, but here's what we do know. Investigators say two people were standing in an area on Mosquito Drive when a white Japanese model car pulled up and gunmen inside began shooting. They hit one of the victims. He was taken to hospital where he later died. Well, speed was a contributing factor in an accident that killed a 41-year-old motorcyclist on Grand Bahama just after 8 last night. Head of Grand Bahama's Traffic Division, Superintendent Christopher Farquharson says once officers arrived at the scene on East Sunrise Highway, they met a GMC Envoy Jeep with extensive damage to the front and a Suzuki motorcycle. Superintendent Farquharson provided these details.
Our initial investigation tells us that the GMC Jeep was heading west on East Sunrise Highway when it made a right turn to head towards Chappie's Pharmacy. The motorbike was heading east on East Sunrise Highway when the collision occurred. As I said, the rider of the motorbike received serious injuries and were pronounced lifeless on scene by EMS personnel.
And while Superintendent Farquharson confirmed the motorcyclist was wearing a helmet, he strongly advised all motorists to adhere to the speed limit.
I can say that speed is a contributing factor to this accident. For the motorists, especially persons who ride motorbikes, the please when you're riding to always stay within the speed limits, because we know for sure that speed kills. So we're encouraging you to stay within the speed limits at all times.
A judge has revoked bail for a man charged with a 2016 armed robbery for violating his bail conditions and for his personal safety. Prosecutors asked Justice Andrew Forbes to revoke 42-year-old Meshach Newton's bail after he missed a court date in 2024 because he had been arrested in Florida for human smuggling. Newton pleaded guilty in the human smuggling case earlier this year and was sentenced to 6 months in prison. He was deported to the Bahamas after completing his sentence. On September 14, 2024, at approximately 3:30 a.m., officers attached to the Palm Beach County Marine Enforcement Unit stopped a boat captained by Newton with 8 undocumented migrants on board. When interviewed by a special agent from Homeland Security the following day, Newton said that he had smuggled the migrants for a friend. Newton also said he wanted to stay in the Bahamas because there was a, quote, bounty on him for a situation involving missing drugs, end quote. Justice Forbes revoked Newton's bail both as a consequence of his violation of bail conditions and as a means of ensuring his personal safety. Newton's trial on the armed robbery charge is set for May 2027. Well, an historic moment for education in the Bahamas as the country's premier technical and vocational school reached a new milestone. The Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute, better known as BTVI, has officially been granted international accreditation by the Council on Occupational Education. The achievement not only validates the quality of its programs, but also places the institution, and by extension the Bahamas, on the global stage for technical and vocational training. Leading today's announcement was BTVI President Dr. Linda Davis, who says the recognition is the result of hard work and determination across the institution's 7 campuses.
Being internationally accredited means we have entered the global stage, not just the national or region, the global stage, as a recognized, respected leader in technical and vocational education and training. And for the naysayers, the detractors, those who might be under the pressure that accreditation is not worth it, whose vision might have been blinded by the significance of this moment, let me emphatically underscore that COE accreditation was no walk in the park. No walk in the park. It wasn't about checking boxes. We weren't given international accreditation. We earned it.
The milestone comes after a rigorous review process carried out by a 14-member COE delegation from Atlanta. They evaluated BTVI against more than 100 standards, touring facilities, reviewing records, and interviewing staff and students across all 7 campuses. While the initial review flagged 16 areas of non-compliance, BTVI quickly addressed the issues and achieved full accreditation in just over 1 year, a process that typically takes 3. Minister of Education, Technical and Vocational Training, Glenys Hannah Martin, called the achievement a validation of the institution's global standards and its importance to national development.
It tells our students, our parents, our industry partners, and our country that a BTVI qualification is a mark of quality, of excellence, and rigor. It affirms the vision articulated by President Linda Davis, that of, quote, creating a workforce capable of driving national economic growth while simultaneously positioning BTVI to become the regional hub for technical and vocational training.
Most Bahamians know the importance of saving for a rainy day, but what happens if your bank or your credit union fails? The Deposit Insurance Corporation says that's exactly why it exists, to give you a peace of mind. The insurance corporation was set up back in 1999 after the collapse of Gulf Union Bank. Today, it collects premiums from 18 member institutions, that's 12 banks and 6 credit unions, to build a fund that protects depositors. Operations Manager Cindy Thompson says that coverage gives everyday Bahamians an added sense of security.
The purpose of the Deposit Insurance Corporation is to provide you that comfort, that level of knowing that if you place your funds in a financial institution and something happens with that financial institution, you're covered up to $50,000 per account type. And it's just getting that knowledge out there so persons can understand what that coverage is, how that would work, who all is covered, what specific account types, and what's not covered.
Caribbean bottling rewards our country's top sailors, and we continue our talk with John Quell Jones.
NFL season is back, and Cable Bahamas is bringing the action straight to you.
Okay, Zai, let I take it from here. This season, Cable Bahamas is the Bahamas' #1 NFL provider. More games than ever before. With any live fiber infinite bundle, Trio or Trio Plus, you unlock Thursday Night Football, Sunday Ticket in 4K, and every highlight that matters. Just opt in the Sports X for $5 a month.
And don't miss a touchdown. Sign up now.
Watch Thursday Night Football exclusively with Rev and the Live Fiber on channel 747 and 748.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Sasha Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
And I was just telling my friend I wish.
Good evening, I'm Tage Adderley, and this is Our Sports at 7 p.m. The Caribbean Bottling Company supports sailing by sponsoring the Gumbe Punch Cup. They honored the 2024-25 winner this week. Shroud, a C-class vessel from New Providence, became the first non-Long Island boat to win the Gumbe Cup. Awarded to the boat with the best total finishes in the Best of the Best Regatta, the Exuma National Family Island Regatta, and the Long Island Regatta. CBC honored them for their win earlier this week. Yesterday, we shared Sasha Lightburn's talk with John Quell Jones about her season. Here's what else JJ had to say.
It's not a player's decision, or it's not us in the locker room, our decision, but we respect JK, respect, our GM and what he's been able to do, and his vision, and just the way he's been able to handle everything that has to do with our team and our organization.
Well, that does it for Our Sports at 7 p.m. I'm Tage Adderley. Stay tuned for Our News at 7:30 for more details on all these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our attention to stories making headlines across the world. As the Israeli Prime Minister says his nation must finish the job against Hamas in Gaza. Plus, Canada Post workers on a nationwide strike after government calls for reform. The union says they're calling for clarity. And then Haiti's transitional leader warning that the country is facing a profound human tragedy. We have the details when our news returns.
NFL season is back, and Cable Bahamas is bringing the action straight to you.
Okay, Zai, let I take it from here. This season, Cable Bahamas is the Bahamas' #1 NFL provider. More games than ever before. With any live fiber infinite bundle, Trio or Trio Plus, you unlock Thursday Night Football, Sunday Ticket in 4K, and every highlight that matters. Just opt in the Sports X for $5 a month.
And don't miss a touchdown. Sign up now.
Watch Thursday Night Football exclusively with Rev and the Live Fiber on channel 747 and 748.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Sasha Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
And I was just telling my friend I wish I could get my hourly.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told fellow world leaders at the United Nations on Friday that his nation, quote, must finish the job against Hamas in Gaza. He spoke after dozens of delegates from multiple nations walked out of the UN General Assembly hall as he began. As the Israeli leader spoke, unintelligible shouts echoed around the hall. Applause rang out in other quarters as he spoke.
Last year, I stood at this podium and I showed this map. This map. It shows the curse of Iran's terror axis. We crushed the bulk of Hamas's terror machine. We crippled Hezbollah, taking out most of its leaders and much of its weapons arsenal. You remember those beepers, pagers? We paged Hezbollah. And believe me, they got the message. We destroyed Assad's armament.
Canada Post workers went on a nationwide strike yesterday. Earlier on Thursday, government instructed Canada Post to begin major changes to its operations, saying that the company faces structural challenges which, coupled with outdated restrictions and stalled negotiations between labor and management, have limited its ability to adapt, causing mounting losses. The union said in a statement that the announcement made by the minister responsible for Canada Post gave no clear details about how changes would be implemented to the organization and warned that the recommendations could result in major job losses and changes to delivery standards. Canada Post said that its operations will be shut down following the strike and that its customers can expect delays. Starbucks said it expects to end its fiscal year with 18,300 stores in North America, down 124 from last year, as it focuses more of its resources on a turnaround. Around 900 non-retail employees will also be laid off. A review of Starbucks locations revealed that many are falling short of financial performance targets or are failing to create the environment customers expect. Starbucks said it will offer severance and support packages for affected employees. From the podium of the United Nations General Assembly, Haiti's transitional leader, Laurent Saint-Cyr, delivered a stark plea to the international community, warning that the country is facing profound human tragedy. He painted a grim picture of daily life in Haiti: murders, gang rapes, famine, and more than 1 million displaced people. Armed gangs now control large swaths of Port-au-Prince and continue to spread terror nationwide, leaving the Kenyan-led multinational security support mission struggling to contain the crisis.
This is the face of Haiti today, a country at war, a modern-day Guernica, a human tragedy at the doorstep of America, only a 4-hour flight from here. It's important to say this. Haiti is experiencing war, a war between criminals that want to impose violence as their social order and a population, an unarmed population that is fighting for human dignity and freedom. The response must be firm and determined. Today, the international community must stand alongside Haiti and take large-scale measures, not half steps. A strong, coordinated, and immediate action is needed. Silence and inaction are not an option.
Guyana is working toward becoming a maritime hub in the region, serving as a strategic link for international shipping routes and global trade. The country recorded a 43.4% economic growth in 2024, with 10% growth expected for 2025. Shipping carries around 80% of world trade. Guyana's president has tasked the Maritime Administration with making Guyana more competitive and advancing plans for a deep-water port in Berbice, supported by new roads and bridges linking Brazil. The facility will open Guyana further to regional and international markets. Work is currently taking place to modernize Guyana's regulatory laws that govern port facilities. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was September 26. And then in our news at 7:30, a tropical storm watch in effect for parts of the southern Bahamas. The chief counselor for Acklins giving our news an update on preparations underway. Plus, the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association describing a recommendation from a recent labor forum as dangerous. We'll tell you why. The details coming up when our news continues.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Sasha Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
And I was just telling my friend I wish I could get my Our News update sent to my phone, like a WhatsApp message or something, you know?
Haven't you heard?
Well, who say that?
It's me, Jerome, your news godfather, and I'm here to update your life.
Well, how do you plan to update my life exactly? Because I don't think I'm understanding. Care to elaborate?
Our News has launched its broadcast channel, so now most important updates come straight to your WhatsApp.
Dad, so you tell me that I have access to real-time updates and news at 7:30?
Yes, you get it first and direct and unfiltered.
Okay.
It's perfect for our viewers who want to stay on top of what's going on.
Well, I want to stay in tune. Are you talking about like recent crimes and political updates and heartfelt stories as well as sports coverage?
We're talking exclusive updates, behind-the-scenes content, major announcements.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1929, the Bahamas hurricane ended its battering of the Bahama Islands after 3 days. The storm remained almost stationary at 2 miles per hour over New Providence and Andros. 134 were killed and well over 5,000 people were left homeless in New Providence. In 2018, a top Disney Cruise Line executive outlined their plans for the controversial Lighthouse Point project. At the time, environmentalists argued that the project may destroy the ecological and cultural assets of the local environment. Then in 2019, missing posters were released 3 weeks after Hurricane Dorian ravaged Abaco and Grand Bahama. Now, for a full recap of events that shaped the day that was September 26, be sure to head on over to ournews.bs. And of course, for all of today's top stories, you can also find them at ournews.bs. That does it for our news at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia, happy Friday. We still have a long weekend to go.
Weekend, of course, we're tracking the tropics, so be sure to stay with us this weekend because we're going to be following the storm throughout the entire country. Well, coming up, the acting prime minister urging residents to keep their guards up and prepare for the worst as residents brace for high winds and possible flooding. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our news at 7:30, all eyes are on the tropics tonight as several systems are moving in the region. The acting prime minister is urging Bahamians to prepare for the worst. Also, preparations ramping up across the southern Bahamas as a storm inches closer, with emergency teams now on alert and residents urged to get storm ready. Plus,
Trade Union Congress President Obi Ferguson says the Congress was not consulted ahead of the salary increase proposed by the Davis administration. I'm Berthany McDermott. We'll have those details for you in our news tonight.
And later, a proposed labor law amendment sparking concern from the hotel sector, with the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association calling it dangerous. The story when our news at 7:30 returns.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Struckham, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Struckham, #1 in pest control services.
In the Bahamas, island time is real. The history of Morris Lumber Company, established in 1945, is etched into the fabric of this proud island nation. It's a story that deserves to be celebrated in full color, and that's where we come in. Mora's The Paint Place has been bringing color and vitality to homes and businesses across the Bahamas. Here, color is more than just a hue, it's a symbol of life. Together, we can paint a brighter future.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at all locations excluding the airport and food truck.
Are you? Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Atalia Hall. Well, topping news tonight, officials at the Disaster Risk Management Authority hosting a press briefing just moments ago. A tropical storm watch is in effect for the western Bahamas and a warning is in place for the central Bahamas. Officials also noting that they do expect broad impact across the islands and are advising anyone in low-lying areas to seek higher ground. As they say, their biggest concern with the system is flooding. Residents in the capital and the northern Bahamas, are urged to focus on preparedness as the storm could intensify rapidly while in Bahamian waters. Now we encourage you to stay tuned to our social media pages for the latest from officials as more information becomes available. Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper warning Bahamians to keep their guards up as that tropical disturbance moves closer to the Bahamas and is expected to intensify over the weekend. Given the details of the movement of the storm, Cooper says residents will have very little time to prepare. Following a meeting with the Disaster Risk Management Authority, Cooper said officials expect the system to develop into a Category 1 hurricane by Sunday.
These trajectories are preliminary. They are likely to change, and when they change quickly, and therefore I call on Bahamians everywhere, but particularly in the central and northern Bahamas, to be alert, make the requisite preparations, and listen specifically to the reports from the Met Department and the DRM. Those are the official agencies. And therefore, I invite Bahamians to pray for the best, but be prepared for the strengthening of the storm.
Well, as weather system 94L edges closer to the southern Bahamas, preparations are ramping up across the islands. A tropical storm watch is now in effect for San Salvador, Rum Key, Long Island, Cat Island, Exuma, and its keys, with residents ordered to begin storm preparations as the system continues to develop north of Hispaniola and just south of the Turks and Caicos Islands. On Acklins, Chief Counselor Marvin Campbell says emergency teams are already on alert.
The administrator and his team are always ready to go to activate any minute that the DR sends a message out or a call out. But we have everything in place. Protocol has already been established. The police knows what measures it take to nurse or the doctors. Everybody's in place. Council has its team ready to go in case we get a call. But we're doing well, and the wind just spring up a minute, and no school was today, but the office will probably be closed with permission out of Nassau midday, the administrative office, once he gets his call. But we're right here fan out, waiting to see what's happened,
Well, flights scheduled to leave the island tomorrow have already been canceled. Adding urgency to local storm readiness, Campbell says the administrator has taken steps to ensure residents can afford the basics as families move quickly to prepare their homes.
I advised my administrator to do monthly payments as of yesterday with continuation of this morning, just in case persons need to purchase like water, canned goods, because there's a possibility that if the weather comes, that you might have some flooding in some areas. And so therefore persons might not be able to get to their home. So I advised the administrator, to do payments, and he did. And so persons will be able to get portable canned gas and, small items to put in the house just in case we have to prepare for the worst,
And all eyes are on the tropics tonight, with several systems being closely monitored. As we mentioned earlier, Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper is urging Bahamians to prepare for the worst. And with a tropical storm watch now in effect for parts of the southern Bahamas, residents are being told to get storm ready. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is up now with the latest track and what we can expect heading into the weekend. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Natalia. We are tracking newly formed potential tropical cyclone 9, which formed just this evening across the eastern tip of Cuba. Showers and thunderstorms associated with that system. We also have Umberto, which is just to the east of the islands, staying out there in the open Atlantic. But all eyes are on this system, as it is expected to track towards the northwest through the entire chain of island and bringing us some showers, tropical storm conditions. The Department of Meteorology now have an alert issued for the central and northwest Bahamas. A watch is in effect for the northwest Bahamas and a warning in effect for the central Bahamas as the system continues to track towards the northwest. It's going to be bringing a lot of showers and thunderstorms across the chain of islands, very gusty winds as well as in those showers, as well as some very rough seas and some large swells. As the system tracks towards the central Bahamas, it's expected to strengthen to a depression or a tropical storm by tomorrow. It might even make it to that status tonight, and eventually by Sunday we expect the system to be just a beam of Abaco as a very strong tropical storm. So the northern Bahamas portions of it, you guys are going to have to continue to monitor the progress of this system. Future radar showing the moisture associated with the system across the southeast Bahamas. Showers and thunderstorms spreading from the Turks and Caicos Islands across Acklins and Crooked, Long Island, as well as the Cat Island area. And eventually, as I mentioned, the system getting into the central Bahamas by tomorrow and into the northwest Bahamas by Sunday. More showers and thunderstorms expected for the northwest Bahamas. And as I mentioned, the system is expected to, or anticipated to become a stronger tropical storm once it gets into that neck of the woods. The effects of this system: lots of rain, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches expected with the system as it moves through the island. Some isolated amounts will be higher, so we're expecting flooding in some low-lying and flood-prone areas. We also expect some gusty winds in those showers and thunderstorms, possible tornadic activity, as well as we expect some very rough seas. So we're asking you boaters and you beachgoers for the weekend not to get into the waters, not advisable as the system tracks through our area. That's a quick look on potential tropical cyclone 9. We'll talk about this later on in the newscast, as well as we take a second look at the tropics at the end of the newscast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Greg. Well, switching gears now, Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson is lashing out at government as he says unions were not consulted ahead of the proposed salary increase for public servants. Ferguson called actions like this frustrating and provoking, adding that soon workers will rise up. Our Bethany McDermott reports.
As public servants wait for salary increases, Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson says trade unions were not a part of negotiations to determine the increase. In June, Prime Minister Philip Davis announced that public servants across all levels were slated to get a pay raise, one at the end of June and the second in September. But that changed when the government recently announced that civil servants will be paid in the December pay period, retroactive to September 1st. Ferguson says this is unusual.
Some unilateral decision was made by the permanent Minister of Public Service, I assume with the government, which is a complete departure from trade union activities in this Commonwealth.
The government stated the payment will narrow the gap between non-contractual employees and public servants who have already received increases as a result of trade union negotiation. Meanwhile, Ferguson maintains increases like this never happen until it's discussed with trade unions.
That defeats the whole purpose of trade unions. That goes against everything we call or we consider to be a trade union.
Ferguson called instances like this frustrating, adding that soon enough Bahamians will come together.
It's provoking. And at one stage, the Bahamian workers are going to rise up to the occasion. And I'll be more than happy to lead it. Because it is not right.
In light of this, Ferguson says the TUC is prepared to do whatever it has to do to protect workers. Reporting for our news, I'm Bethany McDermott.
All right, thanks so much for that, Bethany. Well, dangerous is how the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association Executive Director Odeka Gibson is describing a recommendation from a recent labor forum. The recommendations seek to amend parts of the Employment Act and the Industrial Relations Act. This ensures employees receive redundancy pay if the employer shuts down. According to Gibson, he says very little details were shared when the recommendations were given to them.
Our specific queries were, who will manage this process? How will employers be assessed to determine what types of contributions they will make to the bond, because they're using the terms insurance? When the bond or the bond assessments are done and submitted to the government of the Bahamas, will those sums find themselves in the consolidated fund, or will they be separated?
The white paper also included concepts of flexible time severance payments, suggesting the extension of maternity leave, among other things. But not all recommendations were advanced to the permanent paper to go out for consultation. Meanwhile, she says at this stage, stakeholders nor the tripartite council has received answers on the redundancy insurance. She's calling it the most dangerous recommendation made by government and, by extension, the Department of Labor.
If it is implemented after the public consultation processes in October and it goes before the cabinet and the cabinet approves, it means that all opportunity to make representations concerning this introduction of this concept will be lost.
Now turning to court, a gun-wielding robber who held up a member of parliament and his wife has been jailed for 14 years. Brandville Hanna, 26 years old, of Hanna Road, learned his fate when he appeared before Justice Neil Brathwaite for sentencing. A jury found that Hanna was one of two men who were lying in wait when Reuben Ramming, who represented the Pinewood constituency, pulled up at his home in Yarmacraw Beach on August 13, 2021. The robbers forced Ramming to the ground and took his watch, a cell phone, and $300. The gunman ordered Ramming's wife, Natasha, out of her car at gunpoint. When she arrived moments later, she was robbed of her handbag, wallet, a cell phone, and $185. The robbers fled in a gray Nissan Note. Hanna was driving a gray Nissan Note when police officers stopped the vehicle at a COVID-19 roadblock on Burnett Road. His passenger ran from the car and evaded the arrest. Officers also recovered Mrs. Ramming's handbag in the garbage in front of Hanna's home. Well, a woman testified that she was gang raped by two men and sexually assaulted by a third man when she was 14. The alleged victim, now 21, was testifying in the trial of Cleveland McVie, the only person charged in the case. The witness testified that she left her New Providence home around 10 p.m. on June 25th, 2018 to walk to the store. She testified that she sought shelter in a half-finished building at a junction off Market Street and Wolf Road after it started to rain. The woman said the accused and four other men forced her into a storage room in that building. She said she tried to fight them off with a shovel but was overpowered. She said she bit one of the men and he bit her shoulder. The woman said McVie and another man raped her and a third man fondled her as two other men laughed at her. The woman said she ran to the Kwaku Street Police Station to report the matter. Still to come in our news, a big boost for Grand Bahama's Junkanoo groups as seed funding rises ahead of the 2026 New Year's Day Parade. And later, a Caribbean classic comes to life on the Grand Bahama stage as the Freeport Players Guild presents Moon on a Rainbow Shawl. And that's all coming up when our news returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
NFL season is back, and Cable Bahamas is bringing the action straight to you.
Okay, so I take it from here. This season, Cable Bahamas is the Bahamas' #1 NFL provider. More games than ever before. With any live fiber infinite bundle, Trio or Trio Plus, you unlock Thursday night football.
Grand Bahama's Junkanoo groups are getting a major boost ahead of the 2026 New Year's Day Parade. At a special presentation this week at the Pelican Bay Resort, groups received their annual seed funding, with each A group seeing an increase from $9,000 to $12,000. Other groups also received additional funding. It comes as Junkanoo organizers continue preparations for what's expected to be a bigger, more festival-style celebration on New Year's Day. Last year, officials announced that Grand Bahama's senior parade would shift to coincide with Majority Rule Day set for January 9th, with another parade in West End on New Year's Day. Culture Minister Mario Boleg says Grand Bahama continues to set the standard for what a true festival should look like.
And this is what we want to take Junkanoo to a festival and not just the parades, And I'm happy that we were able to give them an increase in seed funding. Like I said, this is the first administration that I know of that would have given increase in seed funding throughout the entire nation of the Bahamas. Every island, every key has received an increase in seed funding, and so it tells this government commitment to uplifting and the development and the promotion of Junkanoo.
Platinum Nights leader Thomas Curry Jr. says after a tough year, the group is ready to deliver a show like no other and welcomes the support from government.
For years we have been crying for increasing seed money in Grand Bahama, and we thank the government for moving in the right direction. Sometimes it isn't what you really want, but you're taking baby steps. Hopefully, in the near future, we will get what we really want, because we really need it here in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama's economy is not great like Nassau, where the groups are getting the big sponsors, so we are always in need of help. And hopefully in another year or two, like the minister say, or even before the year out, something else could come our way to help the groups to get to the 2026 parade.
All right, good stuff for the island of Grand Bahama. And starting tonight, residents on that island can experience a Caribbean classic, Moon on a Rainbow Shawl, live on stage. The Freeport Players Guild is bringing the Errol John play to life at the Regency Theater, with showings tonight and tomorrow at 8 p.m. and on Sunday at 4. Producer Yumi Swain says the cast and crew total more than 20, featuring several familiar faces. Swain adds the production is rated PG-13 and promises an iconic story that Caribbean audiences, especially Bahamians, will truly enjoy. She's encouraging the public to come out and support local theater.
It is very well known, well loved by the Freeport Players Guild, Paulette Russell. She actually played the role of Mavis in this production when it hit the stage in 1978. The director at the time was Wesley Butler, a part of the Grand Bahama Players right here at the Regency Theater. So this play was near and dear to her, and she wanted to bring it back. So when we had auditions for it, she made sure cast persons that really embodied the feeling and the vibe and the energy, the iconic Mr. Butler had in 1978, so we're just very happy to bring this back on the stage.
Caribbean Bottling Company hands out the Gombe Punch Cup, and we continue our conversation with John Quell Jones. Our sports at 7:30 is up next.
Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
And I was just telling my friend I wish I could get my Our News updates sent to my phone, like a WhatsApp message or something,
Haven't you heard?
Well, who say that?
It's me, Jerome, your news godfather, and I'm here to update your life.
Well, how do you plan to update my life exactly? Because I don't think I'm understanding. Care to elaborate?
Our News has launched its broadcast channel, so now most important updates come straight to your WhatsApp.
that? So you're telling me that I have access to real-time updates and news at 7:30?
Yes, you get it first and direct and unfiltered.
Okay.
It's perfect for our viewers who want to stay on top of what's going
Well,
on.
I want to stay in tune. Are you talking about like recent crimes and political updates and heartfelt stories as well as sports coverage?
We're talking exclusive up.
Good evening, it's Friday and I'm Tage Adderley here with our sports at 7:30. The Caribbean Bottling Company generously supports our national sport, sailing, by sponsoring the Gumbay Punch Cup. This week they honored this past season's winners. Sponsored by the Caribbean Bottling Company, the Gumbay Punch Cup is a Grand Prix style trophy given to a boat in a designated division with the most points across the Long Island National Regatta, the Best of the Best Regatta, and the Exuma National Family Island Regatta. The division designated for the 2024-25 season was Class C, and Shroud, a boat from New Providence, took the cup, making history as the first non-Long Island boat to win the cup. Caribbean Bottling celebrated with the winners by holding a banquet at the Royal Nassau Sailing Club, where they unveiled a limited edition Gumbay Punch can featuring Shroud. The Gumbay Cup plaque was also unveiled with Shroud added to it. Representatives from the company were in attendance, as well as Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs Clay Sweeting. Here's what CBC Marketing Director Jonathan Throneberry had to say.
I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to this year's champions. Your hard work and teamwork has earned you the top honor, and we're proud to celebrate this achievement. We're also deeply honored to have with us today the Honorable Clay Sweeting, Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs. Minister, thank you for your leadership and your continued support of Bahamian sailing, which is such an important part of our culture and heritage.
And those cans are in store, so take a look if you want to see the newest Gumbay Cup winners. Switching back to the WNBA, news of Sandy Brondello's firing as head coach of the New York Liberty came as a shock to many, especially after the team just became WNBA champions last season. We got the team star center's thoughts on the issue. Our Sasha Lightburn has a story.
Less than a year after winning their first WNBA championship in franchise history, the New York Liberty announced this week that they are moving on from head coach Sandy Brondello. Brondello went 107 wins to 53 losses in 4 seasons with the franchise, including leading New York to the 2024 championship and back-to-back WNBA Finals appearances. I had the opportunity to speak with Jonquel Jones, a team star center, about Brondello's firing.
It's not a player's decision, or it's not us in the locker room, our decision, but we respect JK, respect our GM and what he's been able to do, and his vision, and just the way he's been able to handle everything that has to do with our team and our organization.
Despite that, JJ says Brondello, who came to the team in 2022, did what no other coach could do in New York.
Sandy was a huge part in us winning the championship, and she was my coach, and I got the opportunity to be able to have a relationship with her and get to know her as a person. She's a great person, and nobody else did what she did. Nobody else did what we did in New York. It took 20 plus years for this organization, this city, to be able to get a WNBA championship.
And because the league is growing so quickly, JJ feels one has to also understand, quote, the nature of the beast.
I wish her well moving forward, and it's kind of sad to see an era end, and things are going to be changing, but our league is just growing so quickly, and sometimes that's just the nature of the beast, so obviously, it's tough to see that when you get to have a relationship with somebody, but you also, trust in the front office and what they're trying to do too.
Reporting for our sports, I'm Sasha Lightborn. Back to you, Tage.
Well, that's a wrap for sports for the week. For our sports at 7:30, I'm Tage Adderley. Have a great weekend.
When our news comes back from the break, we're tracking the tropics tonight. Greg is back with the latest when our news continues. Stay with us.
Your announcement, everything you actually care about.
Nice. I love the sound of that. So this is VIP access to the news. You don't want to miss it. So what are you waiting for? Be sure to press the notification bell on the WhatsApp broadcast channel so that you don't miss out on all of the real-time updates.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the record.
This is our news. Welcome back. We are very active in tropics as we close out September with 3 systems out there. One that we're not tracking any longer. Gabriel is basically gone, moving into Portugal. We also have Humberto, which is a powerful tropical storm, hurricane, pardon me, which is up to Category 3. We expect it to strengthen even to a Category 4 system as the system continues to track towards the northwest. Current position, 22.3 degrees north, 58.1 west. The winds are up to 120 miles per hour. Its movement is towards the west-northwest at 5 miles per hour, very slow, and the system will continue that track. Should stay east of the islands, as I mentioned, strengthening to a powerful Category 4 storm over the next couple of days. So this one will be something Bermuda will have to watch over that time frame. Closer to home, we have potential tropical cyclone number 9 at 5 p.m. position, 20.9 degrees north, 74.6 west. Its movement is towards the northwest at 9 miles per hour and its packing winds of 35 to 40 miles per hour, and will continue on that track. Should be moving through the island chain as we speak, bringing showers and thunderstorms across the southeast Bahamas. Right now, the Turks and Caicos Islands, Inagua, as well as the Acklins and Crooked Island, starting to see some of those showers and thunderstorms. Strong gusty winds associated with it up to tropical storm force. System is expected to strengthen to an official depression or a tropical storm. We anticipate more a tropical storm once it gets into the central Bahamas by tomorrow. So winds will be strengthening and the system will continue to move towards the north. Should get into the northwest Bahamas for Sunday. Watches in effect for portions of the northwest Bahamas. That's Grand Bahama, Abaco, as well as the Berry Islands. For the central Bahamas, a warning in effect for that area. All those islands in the central Bahamas, you guys should have been prepared for this system, or should have rushed to get prepared for the system as the system continues to track towards the north and west. Once again, watches in effect for portions of the northwest Bahamas, warnings in effect for the central Bahamas. Upper level trough across the eastern United States will actually keep this system and swing it out slightly towards the north, but it's expected that once the system gets to the north of us, it will strengthen to a hurricane as it is anticipated to gain some more strength with the warm waters around us. The effects across our area, flooding, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall expected with the system, some isolated amounts higher, as well as strong gusty winds, and of course some tornadic activity possible in those thunderstorms. Very rough seas, so we're asking you boaters and you beachgoers not to get into the waters. This weekend is not going to be a very good one to do anything on the waters at this time. Future forecast showing the moisture associated with that system pulling towards the north across the southeast Bahamas. Big blow up of showers and thunderstorms across eastern Cuba. Most of the activity moving into the central Bahamas by tomorrow. And then, as I mentioned, Sunday, northwest Bahamas will get its share, and Humberto will stay to the east of the islands as well. Boating forecast in the northwest Bahamas. You boaters are not to venture far from port. Small craft caution tonight through the early part of tomorrow, but we expect those warnings to go up to advisory. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots. They will be increasing. 4 to 6 foot seas expected, but up to 9 feet in the Atlantic waters for the central and southeast Bahamas. Boaters are asked to remain in port. High risk of rip currents there. East to southeast winds 20 to 25 knots. They will be gusting to tropical storm force, and your seas will be running 5 to 8 feet, building up to 12 feet in the Atlantic waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, we will keep showers in the forecast for the remainder of the week. That is likely to continue into early part of Monday when that system exits our area and pulls towards the north. But we should see some clearing, some residual moisture hanging out from some tailed moisture from the system through the early part of next week. But those temperatures will be climbing back to the 90s during that time frame. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night and have a safe weekend, everybody.
All right, thanks so much for that, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.
Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications